primero, muchas gracias a todos los que estáis aquí por asistir. Esto complicado que venga tanta gente y creo que somos bastante. Thanks for all of the architects that are going to explain us things because it's been hard to organize all of this. And we are really thankful for having y'all here today. So something that I wanted to say is that this is a collaboration with the Japan Embassy because in the UMA, we have right now the Japan Week. I didn't know that. So yeah, thank you all for being here. And I think we shall start. So first of all, we've got Hannah Greer and Hector Barrantes with scale models in the design process. So Aki Architects is a multidisciplinary architecture office founded in 2021 by New Zealand Japanese architect Hannah Greer and Spanish architect Hector Barrantes. After working at Sanaa in Tokyo, they have set up their practice in Akizuki, a historic preservation district in the south of Japan. They are currently working on revitalizing a village via placemaking, and the project scattered through the town focus on all the states of design, creating self-sustaining business models to improve the economy and population of the town, forming relationships between locals and professionals, and building architecture that resonates with the historical town. So it's all yours.
Gracias, Sofía.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Bueno, voy a intentar explicarme de la mejor manera posible porque de alguna manera no tenemos muchos proyectos de los que hablar. Hace un año que salimos de Sanaa y bueno, creímos que para una ocasión como la de hoy era mejor explicaros un poco el sistema de trabajo que utilizábamos en Sanaa y cómo lo aplicamos a nuestros proyectos a día de hoy, aquí en Akizuki. Somos Hannah, Gria y Héctor, yo mismo, de momento, solo nosotros en ese espacio en blanco. Y hacemos lo que podemos en un sitio bastante particular porque es un emplazamiento con muchos problemas de normativa, tipo patrimonio y demás. Y el sistema de maquetas de Sanaa no se puede aplicar de la misma manera que quisiéramos porque, bueno, por las restricciones de la normativa, pero es muy interesante porque al mismo tiempo salimos con otras conclusiones que creemos que son muy interesantes. Bueno, en primer lugar, deciros que las maquetas, todo el mundo utiliza maquetas a la hora de proyectar arquitectura. Me imagino que vosotros como estudiantes o arquitectos profesionales que seáis ya, en cierto momento del proyecto utilizas maquetas, ya sea para representar arquitectura o para trabajar. La particularidad de hacer maquetas con Sanaa era básicamente una herramienta del día a día y a estas maquetas se les llamaban studies o opciones. Como os decía, no tenemos proyectos construidos todavía, pero tenemos un par de cosillas que os queríamos enseñar para ejemplificar el proceso de la metodología de utilizar maquetas de estudio a diferentes escalas en el proceso de diseño, del proceso de proyectar. Este caso es una fábrica de cerveza artesanal muy pequeña, es una rehabilitación en un emplazamiento muy específico, muy concreto del lugar. Pero bueno, no voy a extender mucho en esto porque no es tanto sobre el diseño, sobre lo que quiero hablar, en particular, sino el proceso, ¿vale? Entonces, bueno, como vosotros haréis por vuestra cuenta cuando proyectáis, empezamos con el emplazamiento, se buscan las particularidades y se realiza una maqueta a escala del emplazamiento. La propia maqueta de escala es asimismo una herramienta de trabajo. Utilizamos la maqueta como si fuera una mesa de trabajo y la utilizamos para hablar con el cliente cuando proponemos alternativas y de hecho no trabajamos ni siquiera con planos o dibujos muchas veces, simplemente sobre la maqueta y vamos cambiando. Esto nos permite, pues, yo qué sé, desde comprobar, desde lo que al cliente le interesa a veces, que es simplemente mover las mesas en la maqueta o más en fondo tratar temas como la disposición de los elementos y demás. Esto es muy útil para el cliente, pero sobre todo para nosotros, porque tomamos notas sobre las maquetas y nos ayuda a llegar a una conclusión mucho más satisfactoria. Esto viene sobre todo de la enseñanza con Seijima y Nishizawa, que nos propusieron esto desde el primer día y nos hemos adaptado muy bien. Las maquetas han de ser de papel, lo más sencillas posibles, dependiendo de la escala del proyecto, del momento en el que estés proyectando, la escala es más grande o más pequeña. Y utilizar maquetas blancas siempre ayuda porque homogeniza el paisaje, ¿verdad? Es como que te ayuda a entender muy bien las relaciones y comparar los elementos que quieres desarrollar. Como os decía, no es importante el diseño de lo que estamos presentando porque muchas de esas opciones no se plantean en el cliente. Es como una conversación que desarrollamos Hannah y yo en el estudio. Lo bueno de utilizar maquetas de arquitectura es que... maquetas de estudio, perdón, de arquitectura, es que las puedes utilizar ya sea para una conversación en la mesa entre Hannah y yo o incluso llevarla a una consultoría. Y sobre todo que son maquetas muy fáciles de realizar. Estas dos maquetas fueron un trabajo de apenas unas horas y las llevamos a la consultoría, hablamos con el ingeniero y sobre la marcha realizamos apuntes. Es mucho mejor que a veces trabajar sobre el plano, entiendes las relaciones mucho más. Y esto se extiende a sí mismo a la fase de construcción. Haces una maqueta 1 a 1 y la llevas a la reunión con el contratista para básicamente tratar todos los detalles que el arquitecto normalmente empuja y el contratista te dice que no. Cuando realizas la maqueta en un objeto sólido, incluso si es de papel, tienes mucho a tu favor. Hay muchas cuestiones que ya están resueltas de antemano y ayuda bastante a ganar esa batalla a veces con el contratista o con el cliente. Las maquetas en sí de estudio pueden servir también para visualizar. Lo de la izquierda es una maqueta a una escala 1:20 y lo de la derecha es la obra ahora mismo. Esta foto fue tomada, no sé si fue el jueves de la semana pasada. Como veis, no hay mucha diferencia. Esta maqueta a escala 1:20 ya se realiza en una fase en la que estás diseñando al mismo tiempo que estás trabajando con el constructor. Y bueno, sobre todo la escala de la maqueta es muy importante porque normalmente cuando trabajas a escala de arquitectura trabajas a 1:100, 1:200, 1:300, urbanismo 1:500. Más de diseño de arquitectura a una escala más de interior, 1:50, 1:20, como en este caso. Y como veis, te haces una foto en un momento y enseguida te haces una idea del espacio que estás proyectando antes de dar el paso definitivo y decir, venga, vamos a hacerlo así. Al mismo tiempo, las maquetas ayudan a renderizar la arquitectura y da igual el tamaño del proyecto, da igual el presupuesto, no hace falta hacer un render muy caro o que lleve mucho tiempo. Si tienes una maqueta de trabajo con la que has estado trabajando, proyectando, incluso si es de papel y está toda rota, porque si os acercáis un poco a la imagen, no son maquetas perfectas, con una foto y un poco de Photoshop, enseguida alcanzas un nivel de calidad de visualización bastante decente. Por ejemplo, en este caso es un concurso que Hannah y yo decidimos hacer 2 días y bueno, teníamos tiempo y cogimos e imprimimos papeles de colores, hicimos una maqueta y de hecho la maqueta es así. Pero cuando haces una buena foto y digamos que buscas una composición adecuada, pues oye, para un concurso, una práctica de 2 días creo que no está tan mal. No es por ser. Pero bueno. Bueno, esta es un poco la introducción. Esto es cómo el objetivo y por qué hacemos maquetas de estudio, ¿verdad? En este caso, este es un proyecto en Kumamoto, en el sur de Japón. Es una casa bueno, es más que una casa, es una extensión de una casa en un suburbio. Y lo que se ve al fondo de la parcela es una parcela de tipo de high density. Es una parcela donde las casas, originalmente el parcelario japonés tenía unas parcelas mucho más grandes de lo que lo son ahora y solían ser en cuadrícula rectilínea Y lo que sucedió es que con la industrialización, esas parcelas que tenían la casa, el terreno de cultivo y demás, se fueron parcelando en unidades más pequeñas y a su vez, después de la guerra y muchos conflictos y accidentes con el fuego, porque muchas de estas casas están hechas en madera, la normativa ha evolucionado en un sentido en el que todas las parcelas son con un frente muy estrecho y un fondo muy largo. Al final de la parcela está la casa del médico y la parcela en sí tiene que estar, no es como en España, en Europa, que las casas están unas casas pegadas a otras. Por normativa de incendio te tienes que separar 1 metro de la linde. Entonces, bueno, esto es para explicar más o menos el contexto. Lo mismo de antes. No hacemos nada diferente, o en Sanaa no hacemos nada diferente que en cualquier otra oficina o en cualquier otro estudio pequeño de arquitectura. Se hace una búsqueda, un estudio del contexto. En este caso, pues, aparentemente era un sitio donde se hacían paraguas a mano. Y desde luego se hace una maqueta de emplazamiento que sea cómoda, que sea, digamos que, sí, cómoda, confortable a la hora de proyectar. Porque el primer paso a la hora de proyectar arquitectura no es tanto tener una opción final, sino trabajar con varias opciones y que sean muy rápidas de hacer, que puedas hacer 1 o 2 al día. Entonces, en este caso, debido al tamaño de la parcela y en sí, optamos por una escala 1:100. Trabajamos con el cliente nos da su programa y nosotros ese programa lo traducimos en un diagrama de necesidades. Y este es el único dibujo que vais a ver hoy. Esto es básicamente lo que utilizamos para empezar a proyectar. Más o menos hay unas distancias, hay unas relaciones, esto se lo imprimimos en un papel A4 A3 y más o menos te haces una idea de las necesidades de la volumetría en sí, ¿verdad? Empiezas con, por ejemplo, en este caso, para empezar a hablar con el cliente, empiezas proponiendo 3 opciones muy básicas, lo que decíamos del paraguas, pues simbolismo, digamos, aunque sea una tontería, pero sirve para empezar la conversación, o la planta máxima en proyección, o el programa dividido en 3 volúmenes, depende de lo que, simplemente para comenzar una conversación. Y estas propuestas se van extendiendo. A medida que vas hablando con el cliente o vas trabajando con tu compañero en la oficina, se va aumentando, digamos. Se va aumentando tanto que en ocasiones hay descubrimientos, hay planteamientos que no esperabas encontrarte o que en realidad ni siquiera el cliente se imaginaba. Pero bueno, esto es bastante común en general. Trabajar con maquetas que sean de papel y que sean blancas o a veces de colores simplemente para matizar alguna cosa, una zona verde o un pavimento. Es muy importante porque cuando lo insertas en la maqueta te ayuda a entender muy bien la relación con el exterior de una manera muy abstracta. Yo creo que habéis visto montones de maquetas de SIMA o de Sanaa. Las maquetas son blancas y, bueno, aparte de quedar bonitas en la foto, hay una razón estética y práctica, que es la abstracción y la simplificación de la arquitectura. Porque como ya viste, más adelante puedes añadir detalles y trabajar. Pero bueno, en fin, dependiendo de la escala, es mejor trabajar con maquetas blancas. A veces es bueno, cuando se termina este proceso, cuando estás en la etapa final, comparar, mirar atrás y ver los objetos comunes, también para recuperar ideas que a lo mejor se quedaron atrás y que quieres mezclar. Y sobre todo es muy importante trabajar en paralelo, que si 2 personas, 3, 4, 5 en la oficina, que no hagan la misma persona, la misma opción, que trabajen en varias opciones al mismo tiempo. Bueno, las propuestas pueden ser desde lo más básico, lo más lógico. A veces se potencia una idea, la idea de la rampa, toma el protagonismo y lo quieres explorar, o a veces proyectar desde fuera hacia adentro, desde dentro hacia afuera. Son maquetas muy sencillas, pero que ayudan mucho, sobre todo, a comunicarte con tus compañeros y con el cliente y contigo mismo para saber qué es lo mejor, ¿verdad? o en este caso, pues trabajar con la envolvente o la relación interior-exterior. Sobre todo lo mejor, porque yo recuerdo que cuando estaba en la escuela, yo estudié en Coruña, me esforzaba mucho en resolver una planta bonita o en resolver una sección importante. En trabajar con maquetas de papel, por supuesto, tienes que dibujar antes de hacer la maqueta. Tienes que hacer un dibujo a escala y con una escala muy precisa, pero vale con una línea simple de AutoCAD. Lo bueno es que con las maquetas puedes trabajar en planta y en sección al mismo tiempo. Yo sé que mucha gente trabaja en Rhino, trabaja en otros sistemas de software. Eso está muy bien, pero no hay nada mejor que tener la maqueta en la mano y comparar. Enriquece bastante la propuesta. Y luego, por supuesto, insertar la maqueta en el emplazamiento y trabajar conceptos como la luz, las relaciones, las proporciones con los vecinos, planteamientos muy sencillos y muy básicos. Al final, lo bueno de esto es que, si volvemos a la anterior, lo bueno de esto es que cuando tienes muchas maquetas en la mesa, ya no es una cuestión de cantidad, es que cada uno lo percibe de una manera distinta. Si el equipo en sí son 10, 15, 20 personas, o son dos, como somos nosotros, a veces invitas a tus amigos o a tus padres y les dices qué opinas. Y siempre es muy fácil de entender. Todo el mundo tiene una idea de arquitectura, ¿verdad? Entonces es mucho más práctico que un render o un dibujo. Y al final creemos que el diseño es mucho mejor. Lo que os decía antes de las maquetas de estudio, pues se pueden añadir elementos tectónicos, de volumen y de color, componer, saber un poco, buscar más allá de la idea de volumen blanco, una vez que ya está decidido, y luego pues empezar a explorar elementos como la escalera y la ventana, elementos que componen la arquitectura y explorar esas relaciones. Es como antes hablábamos de la volumetría en sí, en el paisaje o en la ciudad consigo misma y luego dentro de sí misma también. ¿Por qué no hacer una maqueta de estudio? Y aparte que es mucho más gratificante. Y bueno, creo que Hannah quiere comentar algo. Hannah.
Yeah, sorry. Suddenly in English, I unfortunately cannot speak Spanish, but I think what our presentation today wants to sort of explore, portray, is just that making models doesn't have to be perfect. It's sort of learning how to communicate, how to abstract what you want to communicate through a model. So choosing what you want to display and what you want to show. And it can be quick, it can be rough. I think it doesn't matter the quality of the model so much. But by doing this, you also sometimes find things such as like, okay, in the model, the roof is very skinny, so I want to portray that in construction, or, oh, look, this material is very shiny, I want to portray that in real life. So you sort of do this like import-export thing with model making and being on site. You kind of import the model back into construction through drawing details similar, or trying to realize what you can see in the model. And I think that's the exciting thing about making models during making architecture. And yeah, I think anyone can do this at home. You guys at home, if you have glue, paper, ruler, and a cutter, this process is cutter. Cutter. Craftsman. Sorry.
No.
It's okay. Yeah, I think it's a fun process, and it's a very, very useful tool for architecture.
Yeah, I just would like to add that this is how when we were working at Sanaa, and I think you cannot see in the table many tools, many necessary required stuff to do a study model. Just paper, even toilet paper to clean up and tape, acetatos, nothing else. All the models that Sanaa does, or all the models that Sanaa do are basically with elements that you can see on that table. So I don't think I think you should just try it. Doesn't matter la asignatura para la que trabajáis, ¿verdad? Proyectos, urbanismo, construcción, estructuras. Yo os invito a que lo intentéis y que lo disfrutéis también, porque es bastante reconfortante y, no sé, y agradecido. And that's all. That's our presentation, Sofia. Hannah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's amazing. And now we have SHOGO ONODERA. Did I pronounce that correctly? Or
Yes, it's correct. Thank you.
so it's exploring the restorative design through architecture. And so SHOGO ONODERA is an architecture and design office based in Tokyo. Founder SHOGO ONODERA studied architecture at Hosei University in Tokyo in 2010. After working at several types of design offices, he joined Sanaa with over 10 years experience as an architect. He has built a diverse design base with leadership roles of developing and executing projects around the world. In 2018, he established office SHOGO ONODERA. In 2022, OSO, I don't know, research was established in collaboration with external members such as artists and academics. They are engaged in various research, project and expression activities to realize transitions toward the restoration of the global environment along with the development of architecture and culture. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi. Thank you very much. And can you hear me? Right? Okay. Hi everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm SHOGO ONODERA. Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay. Thank you very much. So first of all, thank you very much for having me here today. Today, I would like to introduce myself quickly in the first half of the lecture to share a little about my experience, what I felt from Sanaa to the present. In the second half, I would like to introduce the idea of restorative design in the title by introducing one recent project. So I started my own practice in 2018 in Tokyo. So it's fifth year now. Before that, I worked for Sanaa for about 7-8 years. At that time, I was mainly involved in large-sized projects in overseas. For example, this one is La Samaritaine in Paris, which is commercial building, like very big complex building. And this one is the tower building in Shanghai. This is 60-meter high twin tower actually. Like it doesn't look twin tower, but it's twin tower. And this is the master plan in Russia. So master planning project in Russia. So in addition to those projects, I also worked on some other international competitions as well. And I was also involved in several domestic projects, regardless of size. This is an accommodation project which I was working together with Hannah when I was in Sanaa. And since becoming independent, I have been mainly involved in small-scale projects such as residential, commercial, and interior design. So for example, this is the renovation project of the apartment house in Tokyo. And this is also renovation project of the rural, in rural Japan, like a traditional Japanese house. And this is the housing project in the ocean side of Japan, and which completed last year. And this is the renovation project of the office. And this is the interior design for the fashion brand. And also I'm worked on the commercial shops like coffee, roastery, cafe, etc. So, and also most of the big project was canceled because of the COVID. For example, this is a villa that we were planning in Deauville in France. We worked on this project from 2018, but the project has been stopped for about 2 years because of COVID. But fortunately, we've recently restarted and we are now working on design for building permit. The influence of COVID has weakened, and I feel that the economy is starting to move again globally. So as I just introduced some projects from both firms, I have been involved in various projects, large and small, both domestically and internationally, in my career of more than 10 years. When I was in Sanaa, like a big firm, I was able to see the framework of the world through a project of a scale that can only be experienced there. Also, since I started my office, I have been able to design more finely at the distance closer to the client. So it means I can design more detail, and I can stand by my client directly. So both have a good side, but I felt a little bit different characteristic. So the interesting thing that I felt after Sanaa, at the beginning of my independence, I was struggling with how to proceed with the project. I used to call this as a kind of DNA, which I got from Sanaa. Every time I do a study on a project, I take the kind of same approach overlaps, and I don't know if I'm following their style or creating something new by myself. So I've had the experience of not being able to study at some point. So only recently have I realized that even if I take the same approach, the person who judges becomes myself, and the definition of my architecture is expressed. So for the last 1 to 2 years, I've been able to think face to face with my architecture honestly. And then last year, I met the important theme of my architecture activities, which is in my title here today. So let's move on to the second half from here. As you can see, this title is like a new theme that I have come across through a project. I don't think you've even heard this word as restorative design. Today, I would like to explain this project and introduce the ideas that architects will need in the future. So first, I will explain an overview of the project. So this is the 2025 Osaka Expo Pavilion in Japan. So normally at the Expo, national pavilions and corporate pavilions are lined up. And a pavilion called the FAMA Pavilion is built as a special building. For example, in Dubai Expo in this year, there are 3 categories of FAMA pavilion, such as sustainability pavilion and mobility pavilion and opportunity pavilions. So at Osaka Expo, 8 producers were selected from various fields, and each producer will build a FAMA pavilion. We are participating in one of the 8 FAMA pavilions. It will be the first public project for me to be very big and responsible. So this is the image of the inside of the site. There is a semi-outdoor exhibition space and indoor exhibition space on the right side. And it is a configuration that allows you to experience three-dimensionally by arranging bridges and staircases. So the site is on Osaka Bay. And as you can see in this master plan in the center, the 8 theme pavilions are located right in the middle of the venue, and it serves as the main content. So the interesting thing about this project is how to think about the social impact that must be communicated to the world. 2025 will be an important opportunity to look beyond the SDGs. In the case of the Osaka Expo, it will be removed as a temporary building. So it is necessary to avoid being told that it is waste or destroy it immediately after building it. So it must be meaningful because it is temporary use. So we have to show people that the world after the pavilion was built is better than it was without this pavilion. So in this project, I set up a team called Also Research. We brought artists, cultural anthropologists, and project managers into the project. So I think this team formation was very successful. And the concept we all thought about was this restorative design. So in other words, restorative design is like restore the nature environment through the power of the design and architecture. So I have tried other projects such as environmentally friendly design. However, the only thing an architect could do was superficial, such as choosing eco-friendly materials like recycled wood, glass, and etc. At the extreme, there is also the opinion that not building anything can save the earth. But however, since we architects are professions that have a great impact on the environment, we must be obliged to take on the challenge of approaching environmental improvement while building architecture. Therefore, we are trying to regenerate the environment by creating architecture as aggressive sustainability instead of the conventional sustainability, such as just maintain and protect the current situation. So I will explain that part in a little more detail. So this pavilion creates a mountain-like three-dimensional spaces by stacking cubes, which is called cells. As I mentioned earlier, since it is a temporary architecture, we will make the best use of the prefabrication system and carry it in. It will then appear on the site during the period of Expo, and it will be dismantled, recovered, and reused. So this diagram shows the circularity of the architecture itself, where life is born and decomposed. And this is the image of the cells that symbolize it. So this three-dimensional semi-outdoor space is closely related to the exhibition plan. We are trying to create a spontaneous viewing experience by making it as a quest-type experience pavilion that goes from hall to hall. In addition, we plan to use a quite thin HPC panel. HPC means hybrid press-stressed concrete panel with a thickness of about 40 millimeter as the exterior material. In addition, we are developing a new concrete derived from the sea for this project. A normal PC panel is formed by applying tension to a steel cable in advance and hitting high-strength concrete, but HBC uses a carbon wire tension material instead of steel. Furthermore, fibers are mixed in the concrete part to increase the strength. Since it doesn't use steel in the panel, seawater can be used instead of fresh water. Doing so will increase the compressive strength. In addition, sludge that pollutes the marine environment is collected and reused as marine biomass. In other words, while cleaning the Sea of Osaka Bay, which is the venue for the expo, the raw material derived from that sea became the exterior material of the pavilion and hold its CO2 in it. So in other words, building a pavilion is synonymous with planting a tree in the forest. It embodies the concept of restorative design that restores the environment through architecture. This is called the Marine Forest Project in our team. Focusing on the effective use of thinned wood has been done so far. However, I think that there has not been much perspective that the structure itself has the same role as the mountain. It is of great significance to draw people's attention to the invisible pollution of the ocean through the pavilion architecture of the expo. So the pavilion will be dismantled after the expo, but we are planning to correct those cell cubes and structures and panels and reuse them as and also research projects. For example, some of the reuse methods are to enhance the marine ecosystem by submerging each cell unit into the sea to make it a fishing reef, or to use it as an artificial coral reef, or to use it as a base material for seaweed bed reefs. So at present, we are also conducting follow-up observations in seaweed epiphytic tests. So it's almost time to wrap up my lecture. So now that the project is currently summarizing the schematic design, there is a possibility that the plan will change over the next 3 years. But luckily, I came across such an important theme through these projects. I think this is a necessary idea for architects like you who lead the future architecture. From now on, I keep trying to combine the activities of the also architects team and also research well together and challenge restorative design in various projects. So this is the idea that I wanted to introduce you today. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. So now we'll be starting with the last one. So hi.
Hi.
So office of Nobuhiro Kitazawa. So hello.
Hi, hello. Nice to meet you.
So, how can we create cityscape from private housing? So, Office of Nobuhiro Kitazawa works in the fields of architecture, furniture, and interior design.
Okay. Hi. Okay. Oh, let's start my turn. Hello. This is Kitazawa. Everyone, nice to meet you. I was working in Sanaa, same as with Shogo, Hector, and Hana. I was worked more than 10 years. It means like I was the oldest staff of Sanaa, and I independent in 3 years before. Thank you so much about give me a chance to join this lecture, and it is good chance to show what I am doing now and discuss with you. So anyway, I appreciate so much. So let's start the slides. I thought what is good to say something about thema. It's quite difficult to think about, but let's say how can we create cityscape from private housing? Basically, after I independent, I do all projects if someone ask me, even the small furniture or small just print or something, anything, I would do. I did that, but mainly now I'm taking care about the houses, especially private houses. My son's more than 10 years was like a roller coaster. It was happy things to join a lot of big projects, and I can learn a lot from each project. And I stayed France for Lublance in a few years, and it was really good experience of my life. Basically, Sana did a big project like National Museum, a city hall, anything else. Client wants to create something new and open for public, basically, and they motivated to make something nice with Sejima-san. So it was really great days. Afterwards, I feel a bit shame. After I independent, suddenly I meet house. When I was in Sana, I never meet with client who wants to create some private house or something. So this is my new experience of my life to think about the private house for my project. So after I independent, I started to discuss with a lot of clients about houses. One important thing I knew after I started to my own office in Japan, the 70% square meter of buildings is housing in Japan. It means like the other 30% is office or shops or the other public buildings, but 70% is just house. It's so huge, and I realize to think about houses is a big point of creation about city, and half percent of 70%, half of 70% is just detached house. The other apartment or somehow. This is the map of around Tokyo. I hope you guys know Tokyo City. It's capital of Japan. And the red point are locations about my project. Actually, I'm based on Tokyo, so around Tokyo is my main territory. Today, I will show 4 projects around Tokyo. This kind of common theme. This is sorry how the building exists on site. this is a kind of common theme, but especially today for me, I think about just for houses. This is related not only about position or size or volume. It is envelope things or structure issue or everything about the architecture. Client basically they want to create as much as possible good and big and brilliant space just for them and best function for their home. But on the other hand, if we just create only for ourselves, the city situation will be just a mess because it's just huge building or just think about only the inside or something. So and it means like with a long view, something bad for ourselves, for our future, for our city. So I think all the time study with client, but also I imagine with the city, with the people who will live in the city in the future. This is my first project after I independent. This is a apartment, not only one houses, with the two rental houses. Client is young family, and it's something about money issue. They want to create this type of building. They want to live with two rental people. At first, I study about how relation house and rent space on site. For example, just stand between with courtyard, or just standing on site in independent, or stacking on site, or stacking with connecting. At the end, finally I decided about like this. The right side is the south side, and south side on the second floor is just for the room A. It's like rental space. The south side space is in Japan one of the we usually say one of the best space in the houses. So I decided I give not for the owner, just for the rental people. And below the space A, that was the entrance space for the owner. And the opposite side, the north side, the first floor, ground floor, is room B. This is the ground floor, but he has the private garden in front of his room. And owner house is can get a purely big space inside, and they can feel this site is all environment inside the housing. About plan, the volume is shifting on site. That makes a lot of directions about views and windows. So that's why I don't put just in parallel. I just shift it and to get a lot of directions of view and windows. This is an interior picture. Windows are something huge, but basically clients don't want clients wants to keep the private inside, of course. So it is related with neighbor. So it is if it's open huge in front of the window, the neighbor doesn't have any windows. So it's never happened like the client and the neighbors the see attraction. This is the entrance of owner house, means like below room A. This is a night view. This is a street in sight, just next to the podium. People can meet in here and say hi in each other. This is something like a Japanese classic way to the relation in each other. But they can keep they are private in each units. So they living together, but they feel like more independent in the city. Okay. The next one is like we call this is a villa in townscape. The client is basically doesn't do it all the time. Just come to the weekend or just lunchtime or somehow. Site is just a normal town. How to say, like it's a mixing like housing and some factory in area. And client has their own housing in just next to this site, just 5 minutes from here. And they wants to weekend house, not so far place, just 5 minutes from their houses, uh, just to come to just sometimes or weekend. This is site view. And the ground floor is like living and dining, and the second floor, the above is like music spaces. This is a section. The ground floor and second floor is not connecting in inside. If they go to the second floor or first floor, they have to go out and walk around the gardens. This is a south side view. So, clients wants to weekend house means like their requirement is just calm and private spaces. Okay, I will do that. But at the same time, I feel it's good chance to this garden for this town's public garden, something like just image, how to say. So the garden half closed in the ground floor, but the crowd around, trees and flowers is just surroundings, I put it. And buildings makes something small and separated on put on site, and it's gonna be mixing in the gardens and buildings, just for the not only for them, just for the city. This is the first floor's interior view. This is something small house, so I feel maybe it's nice to go out or go inside easily. And in interior, if it's more in like minimal, maybe it feels difference with exterior. So I taken care about the number of finish of the and relations. So if you standing the inside or if you stand in the exterior, you can feel both is kind of similar. I tried. This is from south side. This is the second floor of music spaces. The client's hobby is just playing piano. It's like a professional, and she wants to something special space for here. So I make something differences between the first floor. So I create something more minimize the interior finish. This one is the project. What now is on the construction. The site is the middle of the Tokyo, and like a body space with the neighbors. And I just put the big roof on the site. I put one big roof from street for the center for district, and it grows to the sky, and I put it like floating. And under the floating big roof, living or sunroom or dining spaces somehow. A lot of separated spaces is existing in parallel. And this is very tiny site, so the neighbor is so closer than the other project. So if we put the window in middle of the wall, maybe all the time they close the window. So I and the client discussed, and we decided to put all the window in top of the wall and all direction. And it's just to get the light and feel the sky and exterior situation. Not see each other, but just feel the atmosphere somehow. This is today's situation, almost finished. This is today's interior picture. It will be finished in this summer. Yeah. And the last one, this is also the private houses. And client has a very classic car, and their first requirement is house with garage, just for garage. But I think the garage plus house is maybe not so efficient. So I think about garage means exterior. Exterior means like terrace. So I stuck each floor exterior with interior, and the first floor is it's gonna be the like car spaces in exterior and interior. The second space is just balcony with interior, and the top floor is also some enjoyable exterior space with interior. This is also very small site in Tokyo, so neighbor is so close. So if just put the houses as much as possible, something huge, it means like the situation of the wind or sunshine is not so good, something difficult. So if I put like this type of things, the balconies surroundings in each interior spaces, so it can make some distance from the neighbors. So we can put every place, any place about the window, or we can open the window. The balcony will be something nice buffer space for this house, I hope. So finally, this is the exterior view. Like usually the house's facade is just like facade, like the wall and window. But I want to create not just like facade. Like each floor's activity creates facade. It's more nice. And exterior and interior is standing at the same time is more brilliant, I think. And that will be the create some good environment for this surround situation also, I think. So I'm studying like this, and it will be start construction in the next month. Yeah, that's all. All sites and client requirement is and situation are actually not the same. But every time I think how create spaces with surroundings and how creates the space with interior. Somehow like same as huge. It's somehow same as huge project when I was in Sanaa, but it's different way. So it's not related. It's private houses or public project or some huge or small. Every time I think about what is a good buildings on site in each site. That's now. That's I doing now. Thank you for your listening. I'm sorry, maybe my English not good, but that's all.
Thank you very much. And now that will be it. If people have questions, they can do them now. So if anyone has question, please give the button of raise your hand. Si tenéis alguna pregunta, dale al botón de levantar la mano y os doy la palabra.
No se atreve nadie.
No se atreve nadie, ¿no?
Puede ser en castellano también y traducimos, no pasa nada. ¿Y tú, Sofía, tienes alguna pregunta?
Yo estoy de moderadora,
Maybe Hannah has a question for someone. Hannah?
Yeah, because I have many questions. Like, Kitazawa-san, how do you find these very exciting clients everywhere? That we have?
That's a good question. I also want to know. I also want to ask Shogo how you can get such a good client.
How do you get
Yeah,
Funny.
that's the most big question of each other, I think. For me, I'm just basically friends. And if I finish my first project, when I finish my first project, I can introduce myself with my project. So my friends also ask someone if how to say, like, introduce me easily. Maybe he's nice or something. So that's what on the going. But maybe I want to know Shogo is more.
It's funny because there is a difference between Kitazawa-san and me. Because the friend of Kitazawa-san loves to build a house on the ground, but most of my friend loves to buy apartment. So more city people actually. So actually, I also feel kind of like jealous about your project.
Really?
But actually, in my case, I have some friends who does own business. So those people, for example, like there is one guy who is a kind of barista, like a roaster, the barista who wants to make roastery. So, and then like ask me if I can help or not. And then this is kind of like all like friendships relation. But actually, I'm trying to like meet many people on purpose. So I'm using the time for that as well.
That's a good advice. Right, Hannah?
Yeah, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere in Japan, so it's a little bit difficult to meet people, but we tend to do kind of attend community meetings and talk to the neighbor, grandma and grandpa across the road and everything.
Yeah, I think
communication is important.
Yeah, I think I don't know the Spanish situation, but in Japan it's kind of famous. Like the Japanese margin people say, like, if you started your career with renovation, it's gonna be the renovation will be the huge project for your office. And if you started your career with like private house, your career will be there, like me. And if you started something different, But I think Shogo is just like mutant, so something different, like big step up at this moment. So, but anyway, it's a famous story in Japan. if you started
Yeah, but I
renovation.
think
Doing the
it's
renovation.
yeah. Let's say you specialize on something somehow. Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean, yeah. Sorry.
no. I was gonna ask if there is anyone that wanna make any question.
Yeah.
It's funny because this becomes just a chatting, the external stuff, and the students are looking at the watching our conversation.
Okay.
Actually,
I'm gonna. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Those.
No, yeah. I want to know the Spanish situation. Maybe Hector knows. I don't know, but yeah, they creating the private houses basically, or I don't know. Like from European point of view, maybe the Japan is very something special situation. Like everyone wants to create their own houses or own spaces. Usually, just they buy or no, not buy, just rent the apartment or something spaces. So like French, friends of French, they have no new project, just a small renovation or just interior design, something. So I think in Japan it's something good about this situation, but I'm not sure in the Spanish situation.
So I think in Spain it's have your or to build your own house. It's a bit more difficult than in Japan because somehow in Japan it's more affordable in terms of price. I think the construction in Japan is very the economy. I don't know how to explain it, but it's cheaper. Let's say. Also, it's easy. Like for example, Tokyo is a crazy city from a foreigner's eyes because somehow it's a place with very empty. I mean, it's a place with a lot of empty lots, tiny lots, like the ones you build. Like you can do a house in like I don't know, like 10 minutes by train from central Tokyo. You can have your like 3-story house with like very nice sunlight and very nice conditions with all the I don't know supermarket
Isn't it?
train station.
I mean,
I think that's
isn't
very
it more?
popular or the Asian city. I don't know, but in Europe, most people I think lives in apartments, and probably by the same price of buying an apartment these days in Spain, you can almost reach to have a wooden frame house in Tokyo, or maybe not in Tokyo, but probably Oka, where we live.
なんか when I started my own office, I taking care a lot of private houses and meet with client, and also talk with my friends. Sometimes I feel something strange, like in Japan, we have a lot of chance to create our own houses. It means like we have a chance to join the city, like to join the piece of the city. It means like we can create our houses for public. Means like public, how to say. But I feel like a lot of number of Japanese people not so much care about how to say public. Like if they feel just good, it's just that's all. It's we don't want to the stress of the each other or each family situation or something. It's like more independent in the each side. But like I don't know exactly, but the European people never create their own houses in the city. But I feel somehow they feel like this is our city or this is our place somehow. Of course, in Japanese also like we feel like same things, but it's not kind of same, like really different. I feel.
Openness is.
Yeah. What's your perception, Hannah?
No, I think that's right. I think it's the openness thing, and I think what you were trying to say before is like the longevity. I mean, it's a very commonly and widely understood thing about Japanese architecture is that the life expectancy of each house is shorter. So, you know, if you want to build it new house. You don't have to follow in your father's house or, you know, whatever generation else. You just go somewhere else and buy a plot, and you ask these prefabricated home, you know, like prefab home companies in Japan, everywhere. So you use them, and you have the house that you want with like even more privacy than before, like what Kitazawa-san said. Like, I think Japanese houses like 50 years ago were much more friendly to the city, like Engawa, like Engawa ga atte,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Iwa ga atte, like more creating cityscape, like you said. But now all these like prefab homes, everything is inside. Like even your garden is inside. You know, like everyone cares about the new bath system or sekomu, like security system or whatever, but not so much about how much it opens to the outside. Like everything's about, you know, like insulation and, you know, eco this and eco that, but they don't care so much about how an outsider would feel about your house, I think. That's what you're trying to say, like, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think on the other hand, I can understand like the how to say, like cultural situation is grown, and originally the people living with their small society or small village or something means like their layered society, like village, city, town, city, and nation, something. But today the village relation is broken. It's gone. Like everyone just living in the city, or everyone living in just in the nation. I don't know how to say. Like just suddenly they put it on the somewhere in the space, you know. And if it's the answer, how to say, like goal of the republic, how to say, like 民主的
Yeah, yeah,
Or the government.
Yeah.
Government, or like the
Yeah. I don't know. It's the good goal of the clone of the culture or not. I don't know.
the people, yeah.
Of course, I don't want to say like the old time is nice. I don't want to say because it's not so nice. Everyone dying in the street, or I don't know, more that, and it's more like more dangerous or something. So of course we get good things with grown culture or grown city, but I don't know what is the organization or what is the system, or I don't know what the motivation of the each person is nice to living in this city. I'm thinking all the time because I every time think about the private houses. So sorry, I have no answer, but just, question.
So can I ask, do you change the way you do the houses based on your thinking, or more like depending on what the client wants?
Oh yeah, basically we are the professional, so it means like based on client. I say how to say, like it's how to say, created by the client money and client requirement. So
Right.
it's the same. But on the other hand, as you know, like if we think about something special or something different way or something, we lose our job because it's our only standing point to create something nice or something new value or new point of view or something. So I think I don't want to say no about the client. So every time if client wants something, and all things are put in on the whole project, but how to say, the way to realize is our hand. So every time I think about what nice things, wow, to think about the whole things.
Yeah.
Maybe sorry, I'm started something difficult discussion. So maybe ask Shogo.
No.
Is Shogo still there?
About what? Well, actually, I feel, I know Kitazawa-san really well, and then Kitazawa-san is always working for the private client, right? And then I
Yes.
also had many client who is private. So, but also I have a kind of public, like kind of business client. So actually this character is completely different. Like this, like, how do you say, like this difference makes the project different. So, like as Kitazawa-san said, private housing is always depends on the client, and then we use their money, so we have to stand together with them. But if we only work for the private client, sometimes the private client doesn't want to pay or suddenly stop the project. So, and then it's going to be difficult to run our office, right? So then actually I got this experience because it was really hard time for me, and then I had some private clients about like everyone still really careful, be really careful to find the land, and then like to think about the investment for their house. But if I don't have any other projects, I always push them to build a house or something like that. Which is really bad, right? So then I actually shift the client, like the work, to get the project from the like public or business client. And then if I make this situation, I can also concentrate to the project for private client. So this happened to me last year, and then I actually this year try to move, like shift my kind of business plan to there. So I don't know, Hannah and Hector is working for kind of a little bit different compared to us, right? So do you feel anything different, or I don't know?
Yeah, I mean, I think ours is, yeah, like, because we're also different because we're not in Tokyo. So I think Tokyo projects, I mean, of course, there's like, commercial projects and private projects too. And here we're kind of doing something sort of with the government and sort of with private clients and also with the town. The town that we're in is a very kind of not closed-minded, but very traditional and historical town. So even the private projects, the government or the public has a say on. So if we're doing like opening a shop or opening something, we have to literally go to the community and ask them what does everyone think about this. So yeah, I think it's a restriction in a new kind of way. I think it's not as simple as how do you, I don't know how to explain.
No, I mean,
like
you mean you have many clients, you need many approvals, right?
Yeah, approvals. It's not just one person's money or one person's opinion. You have to literally get everyone's opinion and everyone's approval, and then it's a goal, which for us has been very, very difficult because being at Sanaa, like you kind of make really nice options and present to the client, and you sort of have a persuasion skill, or there's no limit to budget. Well, there of course there was limit to budgets, but less limitation of budgets, and you have people were kind of persuaded by all the design decisions, but when you leave and you start your own thing, you don't really have anything to persuade the people with to start with. And you also don't have the budgets. And for us, we're also foreigners in Japan a little bit, so it's even more difficult. But I think, I think what you said, Shogo, is correct. Like kind of the public way of, no, there's three things, right? There's the business people or like commercial projects, and then there's the government kind of projects, which is also a completely different thing. And then there's the private clients, and I think they all have different solution, different sort of approaches. Not just in terms of speaking to the client or anything, but starting from design, starting from analysis, starting, you know, from day one. I think the way you approach a project is completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Especially in rural area, it's
Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
yeah, I think it's very, very different. I mean, you even have for us, we have to ask the city, even if we want to put a window in a house, or if we want to change the door color, we have to ask not just the government,
Mm.
but we also
Mm.
have to ask the neighborhood. So we have to ask the, you know, the grandpas and the grandmas of the town, like, do you think this person's door is okay? Which is like a completely different thing. But it's interesting nonetheless.
Is there anyone who
Okay.
wants to join the
Yeah.
conversation?
もう2次会みたいに
Is
なっちゃったけど大
everyone
丈夫かな
Like maybe it's better if you ask in Spanish. Or,
I ask in Spanish.
yeah. Or if the professor is here, like if he wants to. No.
No.
No, I don't think they have any questions. So
Let's say they're shy. They're just not.
no. So I think this will be it. So thank you. Bueno, gracias a todos por haber venido. Espero que os haya parecido muy interesante. Thank you all for explaining us things. It was very interesting. It's amazing. So yeah.
You're welcome.
I think
Thank
we're
you so
finished.
much for having us.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.